Vilnius, or very likely Vilnius.
This photograph was taken in Vilnius, Vilno, or very likely there, somewhere in the urban fabric of Eastern Europe shaped by the late imperial order and everyday street economies. The image does not offer a landmark that would settle the location beyond doubt. Instead, it builds probability through a cluster of ordinary evidence: the street's material texture, the scale of the buildings, the shopfront logic at ground level, and, most decisively, the occupational scene arranged in the foreground.
A working street, not a boulevard.
This is not the city of monuments. It is a mixed-use street, residential facades above, commercial life at street level. The uneven cobbled surface and the plastered buildings with repetitive window rhythms suggest an older urban fabric, one shaped by foot traffic and small transactions rather than by modern vehicle flow. A modest balcony with iron railing, narrow storefront openings, and a sense of compressed space point toward a city center experienced at walking speed.
The diagonal line of carts.
The photograph is organized by a single decisive feature: a row of large wooden handcarts aligned diagonally like a small fleet. They are empty, parked, and positioned as if they belong to a rank, not unlike taxis waiting for customers, but in a world where the city's logistics depended on muscle, wood, and iron rims. The carts are not incidental background. They are the subject that structures the image.
The occupation, handcart porters.
These men appear to be handcart porters, for hire haulers available for short jobs, moving sacks, crates, market purchases, shop deliveries, household items. The cart's size suggests serious loads, not personal errands. The men are not depicted in the act of carrying. They are depicted waiting, which is itself part of the job. The street becomes a labor market, visible, public, and informal, where work begins with being present.
Waiting as a pose.
Several figures look toward the camera, but not with theatrical expression. Their stance is the stance of people with time that is not their own. Hands in pockets, shoulders set against the cold, bodies positioned beside equipment. The front right man, bearded, bundled, steady, feels like a human anchor for the whole scene. The carts amplify that stillness. Their shafts lie on the ground like paused motion, as if the next job could begin at any moment.
Clothing, season, class.
The clothes are heavy and practical. Long coats, caps, layered fabric, street-proof clothing rather than shopkeeper neatness. Nothing here signals prosperity. This is work done outdoors, in public, at low margins. The image does not romanticize poverty, but it makes it legible. The profession is written into bodies, garments, and tools. Even without knowing names, we know the category the city assigned them.
Jewishness. A plausible reading, not a proof.
If the location is indeed Vilnius, one of the major Jewish cities of Eastern Europe, it is plausible that some of these workers are Jewish, given the scale of Jewish participation in urban trades and services. But the photograph itself does not provide a single conclusive visual marker. No unambiguous sidelocks, no clearly visible ritual headwear, no readable Yiddish/Hebrew text. The responsible approach is to treat Jewishness here as a contextual hypothesis, not a visual certainty, important precisely because it prevents us from turning poverty aesthetics into ethnic identification.
Signs and scripts. The temptation to overread.
There appears to be a small hanging sign in the middle distance that may use non-Latin letter forms, possibly Cyrillic, but at this resolution it cannot be read with confidence. It is a clue, not evidence. This matters methodologically. Many archival street images invite us to want certainty, a word, a date, a place. Yet the honest reading often has to remain probabilistic until a higher quality scan or an archival source confirms details.
Documentary or type image.
The photograph has the clarity of a typology, the cartmen, an urban profession made into an image. The diagonal order of carts, the visibility of equipment, the frontal presence of a few figures. These are elements that can drift toward postcard-style, local color. Jewish frames can name this tension directly. Is the camera documenting a city's labor infrastructure, or collecting social types for the viewer's consumption. The question itself is part of the analysis.
Dating, a cautious bracket.
The image most likely belongs to the late imperial/early 20th century period, possibly pre-World War I, based on street surface, dress, and the overall visual culture of urban documentation. But the photograph alone does not justify a precise year. A tighter date would require at least one of the following: a readable sign, an identified street, a publisher mark if this is a postcard, or a matching archival record.
What the city reveals through them.
More than anything, the photograph shows a city's dependence on human-scale logistics. Before trucks and standardized delivery systems, the movement of goods relied on men who waited in the street with tools that were both vehicle and workplace. Seen this way, the image is not merely about poor people with carts. It is about the city as a network, and these workers as one of its essential, often invisible, mechanisms.
If this small fragment of the past spoke to you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.